We are going to take over the world.
You'll be this awesome publishing mogul.
And you'll be this famous modern dancer.
Have you ever done where you play fight?
I don't want to.
Oh, it's super fun.
I know when to go.
Oh my God, stop it! Damn it! Oh, sorry, you have to like fight back. Stop it! I said stop! Oh, so sorry.
I asked you to move in with me. You said no.
But I can't.
You can. You don't want to.
What do you do?
It's kind of hard to explain.
Because what you do is complicated?
Because I don't really do it.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
And I'm Rhian Holmes.
And we're back. We're back in hell. We're bound back in hell.
Back and bound back than ever.
Indeed. This is the halfway point.
Aw,
Are you enjoying this little foray?
it's all right, you know.
Yeah. This is the halfway point, including the Marriage Story commentary. But yes, this is the fifth film of 9 that we're doing our standard episodes for, and then we are finishing off with a Marriage Story commentary because we've already done Marriage Story.
It is just going to be us quoting along like
Quoting along, yeah.
inseparable people.
And then me, Rick, a live recording of you consoling me whilst weeping. I'm on a new app that's also terrible. Anyway,
Not sponsored, so we're not going to.
not sponsored.
free
It's the new
sponsorship.
sex one. It's not sex, but it's positive.
Sex.
It's not a sex app per se, but apparently it's sex
Sounds on
positive.
Grindr, everyone.
Anyway, we'll give that a break. Honesty Zone. As I'm learning from this app, to be honest. No, Honesty Zone. Rewatch of Squid and the Whale. Masterpiece. Went straight to number 2 in my all-time Baumbachathon rankings. Think it's a perfect film. Loved it. Watched it twice in the week, preparing for the pod. Kicking and Screaming. Liked it more than before. Margot at the Wedding and Greenberg. As you can probably tell from my energy in the pod, kind of deflated. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Sat on the
Yeah,
train.
surprisingly, and I'm not going to give a full ranking, but Squid and the Whale has left more of an imprint on my consciousness, and I can appreciate. Well, it's like I said, I had to kind of watch it a second time to view it as a comedy, and not
Fair.
as like bleak.
Fair,
you know.
fair. Francis R. downloaded it, was on a train to Oxford. I had 15 hours of travel across 3 days, and I watched many movies and cried multiple times. I cried at The Fly, and I cried at Father of the Bride Part 2. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
put Francis R. on, 90 minutes, flew by, loved it. Probably grown in my estimations. Love Francis R.
Hell
I
yeah.
liked it before, but I thoroughly love it now. And it is, I need to adjust my personal rankings. But very, very, very good. I always knew it was good and I always enjoyed it. But a really fun watch. Now, no, I remember how you came to Francis R. because I bullied you for years. When did you? Francis R. was in the great lineage of me and Rhian talking about Marriage Story constantly, and Rhian talking about how much she loves Greta Gerwig. And I'm never actually Phil Marcel Tom. That's not actually a thing I am. No, give me some credit. Am I ever actually Phil Marcel Tom in the sense of like, oh, you've never seen The Godfather? What? Wow. Do I ever actually
You don't say
do
it like that. You go, not to be rude, but like, well, you haven't seen this, have you?
Okay, that is bad. But it is true. and I'm always right. Maybe it's anyway, but no, I'm never like, oh, you need to see Lawrence of Arabia. Wow, they're screening it 70 millimeter at Prince Charles in the downstairs room.
You
I'm
took
never.
me to Prince Charles to watch The Exorcist extended cut on 35 millimeter.
Rhian, if it was my choice, I prefer the theatrical. And if it's any consolation, the ticket wasn't bought for you originally. um, but there is a certain degree where, for instance, I had a friend, no longer a friend, who don't listen to these podcasts, but loved Beryl Streep and hadn't seen like Heartburn, Postcards from the Edge, even though they said they loved Carrie Fisher and Mike Nichols, wouldn't watch like Heartburn and anyway, the best Meryl Streep movies. And we talk anyway, did a full essay. Anyway, I'm not going to rail into it. Kind of just did. But when it came to one I can remember many times over telling you, somewhat not angrily, but like somewhat, why haven't you seen Frances Ha? You love Greta Gerwig, you love Marriage Story. That's one I don't get you not just firing up on Amazon Prime
I'll tell you
or
exactly
Netflix.
why. Because I didn't have an Amazon Prime subscription.
It was on
But,
Netflix many times over. Anyway.
well, not currently. But when it was suggested to me, I went as far as I rented it on YouTube and I had an absolute blast. And I've seen it twice since, and it's just grown in my estimations each time. I feel like it's good you mentioned this as being the halfway point. I feel like this is the end of kind of a sub-series of like personal attacks on me. I don't know. Do
Yeah.
I have more in store?
Yeah, definitely. Mistress America.
Ah,
I mean,
okay,
Mistress
never
America.
mind.
Well, no, because I wouldn't say that you're a hipster.
Okay.
While We're Young is a personal attack on me, except the personal attack is Ben Stiller playing a 40-year-old man. Anyway, um, and trying to get in touch with his youth, which is me. I should be Adam Driver, but actually I'm Ben Stiller. Anyway, I think it more so. It's a subject where I would say, yeah, Margaret the Wedding and Greenberg are comedies, and Squid and the Whale is a comedy, sure. But even somebody like you, who says that they love, Marriage Story, and I said you do love Marriage Story, but you had that stumbling block of, yeah, this is kind of funny, but I feel like Frances Ha, I would say, is an out and out comedy. While We're Young is an out and out comedy. Mistress America is an out and out comedy. My Stories and Marriage Story are more so back to the vein of Squid and the Whale of dramedies. But I would say that we're now in a mid zone. Not that this movie doesn't have its touching, truthful reflections on mid-20s life, and not that While We're Young doesn't have it about marriage, but we're now in a mid zone of three. I would say out and out. No, I wouldn't say out and out comedies. I would say easier to digest comedies
Sure thing. Yeah.
with perhaps a little less on their mind. And that's not to say that these are slighter movies in any way or anything like that. But yeah, and as we discussed on our last episode, we are of course taking another detour into the wonderful collaboration. And as you said before, best case scenario situation of working with Greta Gerwig and Baumbach on this film. Did
Talk to us
Francis?
about,
Oh, go on, sorry.
sorry, very quickly, talk to us about where we are in the love triangle timeline at
They're
the
together
point
now. They're officially
they're,
together.
they're fully
Yeah,
together.
they're fully
I
together.
did wonder if they collaborated before.
No, so this is now, according to the Wikipedia, which again, of course, is every time I type in B, first thing that comes up is Barbican, because I'm very stressed that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'm not going to get Kate Blanchett tickets. Again, this will have come out months after. So Lee filed for divorce in 2010. Greenberg is 2010, and the relationship allegedly began in late 2011.
Okay.
The divorce is finalized in September 2013. Francis Ha is 2012. 2012 is also the year to pay for his divorce payments. He writes Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. So it was one hell of a year for Noah. But yeah. I forget that he directed the De Palma documentary, which is one of my favorite documentaries ever. I don't know how we do an episode on it. And you've only seen one Brian De Palma movie. And you thought it wasn't as good as the awful remake from 20 whatever. The screening Carrie again for its 50th anniversary, and we can go depending on my dogging schedule. Anyway,
Excellent.
The good one, not the Chloe Grace Moretz one.
Whatever. I liked it, but it's
That's
got
fine.
Cancel Elgort in it.
Has it? Oh yes, it does. Tommy. I was going to say like he's one of my favorite characters of all time, but I can't remember what he's called. But Tommy Ross, I do remember what he's called. Tommy Ross in the book and in the Brian De Palma film is just so sweet and wonderful and lovable, and I love that character. And that oh God, I love. I never dreamed. I love Carrie. I might have to leave my.
You like the musical?
Yes, you showed me the musical, and Carrie.
Well, I know. I remember I did, but I couldn't remember your response to it.
No, I loved it, and I liked it a lot, and yeah, that's that. I think it's like an evergreen story, as we discussed in the book. Because obviously the film's 50th anniversary is this year, whereas I think the books was last year, and they did a load of. Anyway, Carrie's obviously wonderful. Speaking of collaborations, so the script is attributed to them both, and the public wording of it is they exchanged ideas, developed characters, and eventually co-wrote the script. Gerwig has said that she did not anticipate starring in the film as well, but Baumbach thought she suited the part. I'm going to call bullshit right there. I'm sure that maybe she was like, oh, maybe I just write this one. But is there a world where somebody else is casting this role? I mean,
I can see it as conceivable from her side. I mean, if you cast your mind back to when we were working on our first project, there was a potential of me just being behind the camera asking the questions, and it was you that said, no, we're not having that.
Well, yeah. I needed as many funny people in front of the cameras. And I got most of them. I don't want to psychoanalyze, but again, best case scenario, all of their movies are good. But we have seen many, many times over, director leaves wife for younger, beautiful woman, not that Jennifer Jason Leigh isn't beautiful, and immediately makes her the star of his next movie, and that movie's dreadful. Do you think, and Greta and Noah are incredibly film literate people, do you think there was a touch of self-consciousness of, I don't want to, we can write the script together, but let's not make this in me, let's not dive fully into me being your, what was she called? Sandra Locke, Clint Eastwood, and then there's, what's her name? Sylvester Stallone, who was like a model. Anyway, Bridget Nielsen. Anyway,
yeah, I mean,
history of this.
There's a chance, but I think it helps their case that she had already been featured in his work before.
Yeah,
so
infamously.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they can't really they're kind of sick from that because people were going to feel how they did about Greenberg anyway. And so like it was well within her wheelhouse from Greenberg. If people didn't like her and Greenberg, then that's more an issue with the
and they're both good. Like obviously we keep saying the phrase best case scenario, and where would this be the best case scenario personally and professionally? There is rather famously and a huge influence on both of them. The best case scenario creatively, an absolute worst case scenario imaginable, which is obviously Woody and Mia, who had that incredible 10-year run, 80s through 90s. where she is the lead, if not the major supporting role of these movies. And there is something to be said when you are dealing with a great actress and a great writer and director, and obviously Greta is a writer in turn as well. I mean, just looking at those 10 Woody and Mia movies, of the absolute personal and professional element of knowing this is exactly what Mia can do. And I think there's an element of that here, and of like, especially when you're writing for somebody specifically, and which is a practice I love doing myself, because I know, like, I'm currently writing a role for you, and you know, there are moments where I'm like, oh yeah, you'll be great, and that side of things. And then there are moments where I'm like, let's get somebody else. No, but I know that Greta plays it aloof, perhaps, and I'd like to know how this continues through, because I love Amanda Seyfried in While We're Young, and I don't know how that overlaps with Lady Bird, but it does feel like that should be Greta. And I love Amanda Seyfried. Well, we all know how much I love Amanda Seyfried.
I love Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, you're gonna love While We're Young. What a great! That might be, I think, his most underrated movie.
Really?
I think a lot of people pass it off as a very slight comedy, and it's not at all. We'll get there when we get there. Well, and by that I mean next week. But Frances Ha. Did I big it up too much, or did it match? Was it that orgasmic thing of it actually matching? Sorry, unnecessary.
No, I don't think you bigged it up. I can't really remember how much you gave me, but
I think I was just very
compared
blunt.
it a lot to Lady Bird. Well, like, if you like Lady Bird, then you'll like Frances Ha, kind of thing.
Yeah, 90-minute romantic comedies with Greta Gerwig as a huge figure. Yeah, it is a one-to-one almost. Before we firmly leave Woody behind, have you actually seen Annie Hall?
No.
And that is a personal decision, a moral decision you have made for your own comfort.
No, it's just never crossed my mind.
Okay. Obviously, huge emphasis on this, on all of Baumbach's work and all of Greta's work as well.
Influence.
What did I say?
Emphasis.
Oh, influence. Yeah, sorry, pardon me. All right. No, yeah, huge influence. And obviously that's not particularly in vogue to say anymore. But it really is all there. Again, you can look. There was a lot of criticism of When Harry Met Sally at the time, of it being Woody Allen light, and I've never seen that other than it being well-written dialogue about relationships in New York. Whereas Baumbach's movies feel more Allen-esque because there is so much emphasis on the intelligent and the
I think I know what you mean. Like, there's
an off-putting intellectualism to some
yes,
people.
Yeah, and like, because I've always noticed that in both the kind of like, but specifically with Baumbach, like the detours into, I just want to say something, like as if they're doing stand-up to no one.
Well, I said this about Kicking and Screaming, is that at times it does feel like Baby's first script. I've got 100 one-liners. I want to
shoehorn them in somewhere, and that is kind of one of my changes for this. It's like, it's very nitpicky, but there are like just a couple of like really awkward segues into like, I want to say this, and it's usually like the more heartfelt moments as well.
Yeah, there is a big difference between how wonderfully her, sort of big monologue is bled into and feels natural, and some of the other moments that feel a lot more forced. best 10-minute stretch. Again, it's a movie of moments instead of stretches. You could break it
Yeah.
down literally apartment by apartment. And for that, obviously, the winner is Lev and Benji. Did I tell you? Well, no, you've seen this one. I forgot. Sorry. This is where our boy Adam.
Adam.
Um,
Oh.
because as much as this
I
is the
was really
Greta era,
slow to the Adam Driver train. Like I watched Marriage Story several times, and I was like, great talent, you know, a tour de force. Don't really see it in a romantic sense.
you're telling me you've not gone to Megalopolis yet? Have you watched In the Club? Um, anyway, don't watch Megalopolis. I think no movie would you hate more than Megalopolis.
Really? Wow.
No, probably not. But anyway,
Dick's the
sorry.
musical.
Leave Nathan Lane. Sorry. By the way, guys, Rhian's now watched Beau is Afraid. She just hates Nathan Lane.
I don't hate Nathan. I really like Nathan Lane. I think he
I
just needs to be a bit more discerning about which projects he chooses.
couldn't agree less. I think Nathan Lane being like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do. Also, they're two great movies. Anyway, sorry. Still no UK Blu-ray release of Dick's the Musical.
No
Or
one
Beau
wants
is
it.
Afraid.
No one wants it.
Or Beau is Afraid.
No one wants
There is
it.
an agenda against Nathan Lane.
What was I saying?
You were talking
Yeah,
about how you got
Adam
your
Driver.
first lady boner for Adam Driver in Francis
I
Ha.
think it was in this, even though he's a douche.
I was going to say, because you famously, douches isn't your type.
No,
Like, I would say
which is weird because I've dated several. Um,
Benji is almost beyond your type.
oh yeah, but I think it's just too overt. Like I can just see the cogs turning of like, how am I gonna get this girl to like me?
Well, I mean, yeah. We can talk about Benji. What are we?
I actually
what
he
a
remind
wet
no,
lettuce.
do you know what it is? He reminds me of my best friend from home, or one of my best
Oh,
friends from like just the kind of back and forth. And then they're like, undateable. Like, yeah.
I think again, I'm not a woman, but all the stories I've heard from you, from my other female close friends, I think this movie does such a wonderful job of showing the kaleidoscope of awful to annoying men
Mm.
who aren't actually awful.
Yeah, they're not like at no point do I think, oh God, girl, get out of there. But at the same time, I'm like, you feel the disparity between like the depth of her relationship to them and the depth of her relationship to Sophie. It's done so masterfully. Even when they're really nice to her, they wake her up by jumping on her bed in the mornings. Like there's a fun, like friendly energy there. But they still will never really get her in the
Yeah.
way that she feels Sophie gets her.
Is this what I talk about now that I'm like, I don't get the Sophie thing? Like I do. I think, who's the actress?
Mickey Summer.
Yeah. I don't think it's any surprise to me that Mickey Summer hasn't really done much since. And I think
Yeah,
she's
and
good. I think she's good and fine, and I get it. But I think
she's
it's
good for this world, where
yeah,
it's all very understated and underplayed. But yeah, I don't think she would really thrive in another style.
mm,
And I think as well, her kind of unlikability, like, almost works more.
well, yeah, because there is a world where Greta is as an overpowering likability
Mm.
that that infuses with Francis's. I don't think. No, like what are dislikable things about Francis? It's less a
Well,
no, a lot, but like it's
she's
less of
she's a
a
bit of a compulsive liar when
yeah,
she's like feeling kind of attacked. The whole thing about, oh yeah, Patch, you'll get the most expensive bottle of vodka and then
yeah,
steals it. Like she
yeah,
does do a lot of things that make you go like, oh, Francis, what are you doing, girl?
yeah.
Like,
The whole
but
movie
again, it's
obviously
she
resides in
pulls it
that tone.
off.
Yeah, the entire film resides in the tone of get your life together. And I think that there are people who find this movie incredibly twee and annoying.
Mm.
I've read much criticism aligning that way, and a lot of people who are, we gave the benefit of the doubt, but who are like, oh, this is Baumbach's first, oh, wow, he's madly in love with Greta. He finds her endearing, but do we? I've read
See,
that multiple times, which I don't think is fair.
I can't find it too twee because I still need to love myself.
Well, this is, yes. I mean, the attack zone, is this where the attack zone crested or?
Yeah, no, because well, not even just with Francis. There are moments with like Benji as well, and I'm like, oh, like it's like, or just it feels like it encapsulates like 20 somethings in the arts in general of like the hubris without actually knowing how the world works.
Yeah. I
And like
well,
the
yes.
refusal to get any job just because it's not what you want to do, but then like
Well,
suffering for it.
is there a part of this though that is like, yeah, this is a movie about your 20s and all that sort of thing. But is there also a part of it that is this is a very, very specific branch of people? Like she doesn't actually have any worries and that sort of thing. I mean, 990 for a room in New York, that goes to about 700 for a decent room in New York. I'm paying 700 in London now. Like
Yeah.
that with inflation goes up to what? I don't know.
I mean,
I
she's still up against it.
yeah.
Like, and well, obviously, yeah, you're relating it to your own experience, which is very similar. Like, we're struggling artists in the big city, and
Yeah.
like that thing of you're still coming from a place of like some safety and security. Like she has parents, they're not gonna fork out loads to support her, but like if she was ever in real trouble, she could move home.
It's
But that doesn't
yeah.
feel like a conceivable option.
She can
Like
get
this
a
is her
job. She just
world.
chooses not to.
Yeah.
And
She's me.
yeah, this is because jobs will take away from time focused on your creativity, which you're also not doing. I'm talking about myself as well as you. But yeah.
Yeah, what I do is kind of hard to explain because I don't really do it.
Yeah, because it's difficult to yeah, because it's difficult. The wonderful
I've
Josh Hamilton.
forgotten.
Did you notice that was Josh Hamilton?
No.
Josh Hamilton, the lead of Kicking and Screaming.
Oh my God. No, I didn't recognize him.
You did your normal Justin Timberlake's in Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm going to pretend
Don't.
pretend that I'm not Googling, even though my eyes are darting around the screen typing Josh Hamilton.
No, yeah. I recognize him face on.
You don't, you were space on in the movie, just
He was
bearded.
so to the side. No, what was I going to say?
I don't know. Was it something about your 10-minute stretches?
No, carry on.
Was it something about getting a job in your early 20s?
No.
Was it something about dividing your life between creative struggles and romantics?
Oh, yes. No. I'd forgotten, going back to the horrors of dating apps, I'd forgotten that I had actor/writer in my bio, and I
I
was
need
like,
to
how
change mine.
much like shelf life does that actually have if I'm not doing it and I'm also not getting paid for it?
Well, this is the thing, is I mean, there's so much about, I mean, again, Benji writing his Gremlins 3 script. I mean, it's like, the amount of times that people, anyway, I don't want to be rude, but I was in the middle of a conversation the other day and I was intentionally staying out of it about how, if you write, you're a writer. It's like, yeah, sure. Like, but there is a part of me now, like it's been a realization of the past 2 years, and you're part of it. You're in the production that I'm now Kevin Costnering and my way to Kevin Costner / Coplering and diving money into. But for Leaflets to be stolen, who steals leaflets? A box of leaflets was stolen from outside our property. They took that home, opened it, saw it was leaflets. They're not handing those out.
It'd be great if they did.
I feel like it's a
Did they
curb your
take your
enthusiasm.
vinyl as well?
Yes, they took my original Broadway cast recording of Into the Woods.
That is awful.
And they
An
don't.
awful day for that robber as well.
Exactly.
What is this shit?
I feel like it's literally Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like it feels like a Curb Your Enthusiasm setup of every time like I'll be doing my scenes at the play, looking out in the audience and like I don't know them, I don't know them. But is there the chance that they, out of guilt, came to the play?
Oh man. Can
It's
you
like, well,
can you actually reprint those leaflets?
yeah, for another £40.
Oh, what's he weird?
Don't get me started. Anyway, and it feels like a
Can I
Curb
can I
episode.
put a post on the Instagram?
Has
To the
anybody seen my
guy who
leaflets?
stole our leaflets.
Has anybody seen my original cast album of Into the Woods? Definitely sold by a gay man in Florida called Dwight. And now I'm never going to get that money again. Do you know how many cheap, shitty vinyls have arrived without issue? No, it's the one that costed money. And I know that it's cost, not costed. Even though I said costed because I feel accosted. Anyway, that'd be a great Curb episode of, yeah, no. Oh, thank you for coming to the play. Yeah, I saw it on a leaflet. What?
The what?
What? Yeah, no, I found it, saw it on a leaflet. Where? No, I saw it, just a leaflet. It was just I just saw it on, yeah, where did you, where? That would be a really great episode. Anyway, weirdly specific favorite parts. Cool. You may go first, madame.
Thank you.
I always plow through.
Kicking it off strong with Francis mid-argument and choosing to answer the phone to Sophie. Yo, what up? Are you drunk? I love you.
Yeah.
So good. This phenomenon, which you could probably attest to, Lev showing his whole camera roll on a date. Like, obviously, it's older, so it's like a digital camera. But this is such a man thing of, yeah, I'm going to show. This has happened to me multiple times.
Okay, why am I attesting to this? Because
because you're a man, but you can say whether it's something that you have done.
No, I don't like taking photos. Oh no.
I will show you
one second a day.
Won't you?
If people ask, if people say, if people, Julia Roberts,
Julia Rob hurts.
Runaway Bride, she died. If people say something about the cruise, then I would much rather just quickly show them my once. Oh, I know, I'm terrible. Right, continue.
The Francis wavering over the $3 processing fee for the ATM. You know.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Just the way Lev offers the cigarette. Like, you smoke inside? Yeah. Want to? Great.
Again, your attraction to Adam Driver shining through.
Yeah. The
yeah, great, yeah.
And then her proceeding to be like, why wouldn't you want to be with Lev? He's amazing. The running through the street, lovely moment. I have things to do. I have a whole Sunday planned. Cut to her eating the bagel.
Eating the bagel, yeah, brilliant. There is such a fine line between the unemployed and the retired. I mean, the whole.
I already wasted the whole day.
Yeah, you wasted the whole day. My I can't even call her an ex. The last lady I was with my dogging schedule, she was like, "Oh, my dog food schedule." Anyway, and she was just like, "Yeah, because you're unemployed." It's like, I'm not unemployed. I earn as much as you. I actually earn more. I just work less days.
A freelancer. He's a freelancer.
As my dad loves to tell me, it's not going to be good for tax, though. It's not going to be good for getting a mortgage. I said, I don't have a woman. I'm not going to get a mortgage. I would rather die. I'm not moving into a house alone. Anyway.
Well, you can't.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
That would be a funny bound back scene. Yeah, like flirting with somebody who you actually fancy, and it's like, yeah, we could like share a room for the rent. You know, it's hard. Yeah, definitely. I mean, not actually going to share a room for the. No, no, I meant it as a joke because of the rent prices. No, I understand.
Yeah, workshop that.
Yeah.
The girl that Lev sleeps with is like when she's like, "Oh, I fucked her little brother," and just
Um,
the little fucked who?
yeah, brilliant, very good. So, how many people have you fucked? He needed to. We never got a real Charlie coming through here. We needed a moment of
Well,
he
no, because
fucked
Charlie
Thomas,
is
her
Lev
brother,
grown
her
up
brother.
after he like actually gets a life and
And by the way, that woman is Justine Lupe, who we haven't watched Succession. Huge Succession character. Anyway,
oh
you'd love Succession. Anyway, it's beside the point. Um,
um
I fucked your little brother. Oh, you fucked Thomas? Who's Thomas? Who?
who's Thomas? The shot of Francis in Paris struggling to light the cigarette and then just leaving and the Eiffel Tower is right behind. Brilliant. Um and then Francis running after Sophie's car and looking down when she's barefoot because she made her take her socks off. Just
Very good. It reminds me of the image the paparazzi photos of Vanessa Kirby running after Callum Turner and jumping on him barefoot in the
Oh
streets of
yes.
London.
Yeah. Ugh, in London too.
In London too. Um, he is though the master of the air. So right. Someone's really specific. I wouldn't need a domesticated dog. You say that just because they're cute. Angrily scrambling the board game. Again, more evidence that I am Noah Baumbach. He loves board games, but gets incredibly angry. Anyway, pissing in the subway, bizarre, but
Yeah, the subway specifically is not one I can relate with, but you never been out with your girls and you've had a little wild wee somewhere.
yes, when you were incredibly drunk, I had to keep
Yeah,
eye for
they're
the
drunk
Uber
in the film.
whilst you all weed wild.
Yeah.
Shit, the F's not running. Very funny. The way he always likes to come on my face, classy. The wonderful Grace Gummer, Rachel, you are like cold and mean. Meryl's daughter. Understudies out. Understudies out.
Out.
I just got a text from you, mate. Do you want to go and get dinner?
I put that on my Instagram photo dump at the beginning of the year because I actually had a tax rebate and it saved my life.
Very good. Uh, Jess can't come from sex, only 69. Nice. Pat, you got this, money wise. No, this is a sample script. I'm ready for the third Gremlins.
What
Waving
about
goodbye.
SNL? It's gone so downhill.
Waving goodbye on the escalator. Very sad. Um,
Oh,
I'm staying for 6-ish weeks. 5.
5.
Um, but she's book smart. She's actually not. I read way more.
That's so good though, because it's just that like realization of like, oh, wrong crowd. Like you can say this to her, but not about her.
It's very good. Um, I don't have any other specific favorite parts. So we're going to take our first break, and then we'll be back to discuss the rest. Oh, Francis, fuck me, fuck me in the ass. What the hell is going on? We're now recording again. Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers, and we're back.
With
With Rhian Holmes,
best single minute.
with Best Single Minute. What are your nominations for Best Single Minute?
I don't have many.
Okay.
Because I'm being a little bit more specific. But the intro, obviously, the kind of living with your best friends, utopia. The story of us, although I did say that the segue into it was one of my kind of like little
I'm amazed that you're able to do this so we recorded this moment and then Rhian was like no and then Rhian's internet dropped and was like oh let's do it again. This is reminding me scarily of recording with a on board the cruisers and there was the morning TV show and just the absolute robotic tone in which we had to re-record something. And the woman, the anyway, she will get a good rap in the book. And she was like, and she just said, "Okay, let's take that part again." And she so ungenuinely went, and that reminds me. And
It's
anyway,
called acting. What do you
I know yeah,
expect?
this isn't the place for acting. This is the place to be real. Anyway,
You think
anyway,
podcasts don't like reshoot moments and pick
fine.
up from where they left off?
I don't, infamously.
Yeah, I know you don't, Mr. Never does the same take twice.
Only in an improv movie.
But sometimes we needed certain things to be said again for the plot. Anyway,
Because people were unprofessional and laughed because I was very funny.
you laughed at yourself most of the time.
I
Anyway,
edited all of that footage.
let's take it from the top, shall we? I actually don't have many first single minutes. Um, yeah, Story of Us. The segue into it was one of my kind of more awkward ones, but I like what was actually being said. Uh, it's not gonna add anything, that's fine. Christmas in Sacramento. Just a lovely sequence. Obviously, it's a little bit over 1 minute. But just the kind of montage of like, here's all the things you do when you're at home and you have security, and it's like it's that kind of stagnation, but also like comfort of like, okay, yeah, I couldn't live here all the time, but it's a nice novelty. And just her going to the dentist is so real.
Yeah, true, true, true. Yeah. Um, yes, I had the opening Happy Roommate Living. Leaving the cat guy and him just being so annoying. This hasn't been good for a while. To then go to where are you going? To then to we should move in together, and just that absolute constant whiplash. Um,
It's
the
it's so real because it's like he's waiting for her to like fight back or like fight for it. He's
mm,
like, yeah, this isn't working. Expecting her to be like, no, please, we can work on this. And she's like, yeah, okay.
yeah, the Adam Driver dinner is sensational. The whole check business, and the just the whole awkward thing of yeah, it's lovely being paid for. So you don't want to be, you would like, oh, I'm gonna, oh, oh, okay, okay. And then he's when he's like, doesn't mean I'm gonna sleep with you. No, I was pretending to be a liberated woman.
Great.
And of course, this leads into the brilliant then trying to get cash. Um, Afternoon movie and cocktails. Again, the life of the unemployed. Um, let's make a day out of it. Let's have a cocktail at 4 or whatever earlier. And then yes, Christmas at home is of course wonderful. And sleeping through Paris.
Oh,
You've got a weekend in Paris and you sleep until 4 o'clock because of the jet lag.
everything from living with Rachel onwards just gives me like stress sweats. Like, yeah, I want to enjoy it, but I'm just like, oh, it's just going from bad to worse.
Um, Indeed. Let's talk soundtrack corner. Few choices like Modern Love. I mean, great track by David Bowie. Halfway through the
I
little
had
running
that.
through the street, and then the ending. Um, Two movies that end with the David Bowie song. While We're Young also ends with the David Bowie song. Um, and then just the jaunty little music, which I don't think is original composition. Just the and the stuff at the start. Very Wes Anderson, very twee. But it
Yeah.
works. It works. Any other nominations for soundtrack corner?
I just had Bowie.
Mhm.
Just great. Great use.
Do you think it's a little? Let's talk now. Imagine that we don't like this movie. Can you hear the people who are like, oh, just fucking running through the road? There's David Bowie. Like, what is this? Can you do any of those opinions have weight?
I mean, sure, but like everything's subjective. And like, I guess
No,
if
I
you have
know.
no whimsy,
I think the
maybe
movie
you wouldn't like this.
it's a kind of a dissect. I've seen this movie always as a why it's good. It's because it's a dissection of the whimsy. Like
Sure.
it starts off as very, oh, we're living the best life. Oh my God, oh yeah, we're just living it, and there's montages and it's all great. And then life slowly, slowly creeps in until she's depressed as an RA.
Exactly. And I think it's very self-referential as well, of like, this is a character romanticizing their own life and being like, yeah, this is it. We're living the dream, doing all these fun things. And then, like you say, the reality kind of creeps in, or it becomes less romantic and more like, oh, I'm just living now. I'm just trying to. And I think Paris really it's a perfect juxtaposition because she's in the most romantic city in the world. She's alone. She can't fully
In the world, in the
appreciate
world, in the
it.
world, in the world.
And she's like fucking jet lagged. So it's just that combination of elements. It's like
And if we're talking,
it's that Adam Sandler SNL sketch. If you are
oh,
sad at
certain.
home, you will still be the same sad person on vacation.
And again, it's somewhat on the nose, but somewhat, I mean, it's kind of how it feels in your 20s when you're not big, when you're not a success. You feel like you're sleeping through life, um,
Yeah.
and sleeping through the quote unquote best time of your life. Sleeping through Paris is just an overall metaphor for sleeping through the 20s, which are allegedly your best time ever. Best line. You can start, and then we'll go back and forth.
He wasn't a real alcoholic. Sometimes he would drink like 12 beers.
This is me with Jay Leno. He's such a dick. I know, but don't you just love him?
When she asks for more work at the studio and they turn her down, I thought so. I'm just proud of myself for asking.
Um, have you been to Switzerland? Which comes back from being gone for a while. Have you been to Switzerland? Have I been to
Like,
Switzerland?
no. We're both really clean. I'm busy.
Um, Proust is pretty heavy. No, I mean the book for the play.
I knew you'd love that. Uh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not a real person yet.
You really got the delivery down.
Because I am her. She is me. She's doing wonders for like, I've said this before, I think, like awkward girl cinema. Gives me hope.
I'm too tall to marry. Do you have any others?
Well, I've got the what about SNL? Maybe. It's gone so downhill. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to get your attention. Your grandpa was a cheating Nazi. Where do you live? Chuggins. How the fuck do you get to Chuggins?
Oh, is that a
That's
house? Is
great.
that a
I love
house?
it.
Is that a house? Right. Okay. Well, obviously, I don't know how to get to a house.
Is that a
Uh,
dorm? Yeah.
Um, what's the change? Do you have any tunes? Is fucking embarrassing. This is where there are a few moments that lean somewhat past my retention.
Do you have any tunes? And then immediately regrets it. It should
Yeah.
have it should have been him being like, "Oh, listen to this, you'll feel better,"
Yeah.
and her cringing out of it, than her being like inviting it.
It feels like a dissection of movies worse than this and more annoying than this. I mean, it's like almost a literal one-to-one of the Garden State, scene
Yeah.
that everybody talks about being, the worst, and Garden State being annoying. Um, I think I hate interpretive dance. I don't want to negate her achievements in life, but when they're all like, "Wow, there was so much about your spirit," the final dance when they're just like all stood there, walk a little bit that, walk a little bit like that. It's like,
I
okay,
mean, I feel like it's not meant to be great. I think that's part of it, isn't
but
it?
but then lean into it, make it like awkwardly bad, and have
But no,
everybody
because you
look at
still
one another.
it rides a really fine line. Like you don't want to make it like incredible because then you're like, what, why is she even struggling for work and money? But you also don't want to make it so bad that the audience then loses all hope for because it is meant to be a hopeful ending
Exactly.
of like
But
she's
is there
finally
an
getting what she wants.
yeah? But
And
is there an alternate world where it's not a happy ending and it's one final cruel joke of, oh, she's not a good dancer or a good choreographer?
no, so I'm trying to
Yeah,
change the whole film.
I know, I know.
We
But
need this. I need this.
there it is. uh, anything else?
Um,
Oh, sorry. Do you have any to begin with?
just the kind of awkward segues into it was specifically the story of us, and then the you're at a party and you see them from across the room, and that that's your person. Like, I didn't like. I mean, I get it was like she wants to have this conversation and no one's really willing, like no one's engaging with her. But it felt a little bit too. She literally just forced herself into the conversation to be like, I'm thinking about what I want out of life. Um, yeah, those are the only moments that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But we get the lovely reward of seeing that seeing that actually play out at the end.
Yeah.
Where she sees Sophie across it.
It's very nice.
Oh.
A few fun facts. I presume you know. I've only got a couple anyway. You know that Francis's parents are real parents?
Aw,
Yeah. That's Gordon and Christine Gerwig.
adorable.
So it was shot kind of experimentally, very low key and covertly as possible on New York streets under the title Untitled Digital Workshop. I believe this was his first time shooting on digital. And so it was somewhat like going back to those early French New Wave days. And I mean, again, New York and permits and that sort of thing. There's a moment in the first montage where they're shooting from behind a bush or just above a bush, and they're just having a breakfast. And I was like, yeah, if you actually shot that professionally, you'd have to get a permit for the place and but they're probably, it was on the other table. And Charlotte Deshambois, who plays the head of the dance company, is actually a well-known Broadway dancer and was in Cats, Chicago, Chorus Line, Pippin. And she is the daughter of former New York City Ballet principal dancer Jacques Deshambois.
Very cool.
And you can
she's
tell.
got the figure for it. Yeah.
I got that vibe of like, yeah,
immediately.
You were definitely an understudy in
Understudy's out.
Mirror and Me, Donna McKinney's role in Chorus Line.
Yeah.
Thomas, big question. Play fighting. How do we feel?
I can actually speak on this. It was a late addition to my friendship with my close friends. I'm sure we could talk about this. Ruby and I, we go to a hippie camp every summer. We have done for 2 summers, and they have like a covert thing that they do, and it's like fighting. It's like wrestling.
that covert thing they do.
And it's all in good fun and good spirits. And I'll say it's strengthened many a relationship. Yeah, it kills me, that awkward moment where she tries to do it with Rachel, and Rachel's like, what the
Meryl's
fuck?
daughter. You know that's Meryl's daughter?
Streep?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. She took the Gummer of her father's name so that she wouldn't, I guess, be famous just for being Meryl's daughter. And yet here I am calling her Meryl's daughter. Patch, what's the deal with Patch? Are they a good couple? How long have they been together? What's going on?
This is the thing, and like
Yeah.
it was initially an issue that I had with it, but then I just realized that like that is so intrinsic to like female friendships. It's like you hear every gripe and every, you hear about every falling out, like when you are kind of living on top of each other.
Yeah.
And so you get this really one-sided view of like a partner sometimes.
And the intimacy of details. Like it was only like they talk openly about how he likes to come in her face, and then like you just see her the next day. So, hi, Francis. He doesn't know that, I don't know.
That's the thing, yeah. And it's like there's the element of, I'm hearing only the things that you think are newsworthy. I'm not hearing about, oh, he's so lovely, like we get along so well, because your friends don't want to hear that. It's not the goss. And then there's the other element of this is just a man that's threatening to turn the life that I've built with my friend on its head. So he could have been the most perfect guy. He could have been like, I think there is a world in which like Patch is just like so sickeningly sweet and charming and likable, but then she still treats him like he's an asshole. But I quite like
Obviously,
kind of like grey.
yeah,
I think they're
obviously,
fine together.
yeah. They need to be together long enough for the Japan stuff and the eventual marriage to make sense. But is there a version of this script where we see Francis and Sophie even before Patch? And we see that relation. I mean, it wouldn't work out logistically to still have this film be set over like a year
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Japan and
I don't
yeah,
think we need that necessarily because we get kind of the
yeah.
exposition of like they went to college together, like there is a history there. You can fill the gaps of
Mhm.
like they have always been this close, if not closer.
Yeah.
And then you see from the moment she moves out that distance kind of growing and just the context of their relationship changing to the point where she's like, okay, I don't know everything about you anymore, and that's weird. But it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna like still care about you and root for you.
Mhm. Indeed. What an awful angle. Every time I move into the sun,
I know, you're
I look
like
like Captain Howdy from The Exorcist. Those little flashes with that white face. Um, any final thoughts, Rhian, on the wonderful Francis Ha?
ah, it's up there for me. It really is. I
Yeah,
mean,
you've
Maverick.
never really talked about this in your actual Mount Rushmore, but like, how far is it down, would you say?
Oh, in my films of like all time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not in the top 10.
it's not even in the top 10.
No, but I would say it's
Okay.
like an honorable mention.
Okay.
Want
Okay.
to see my other honorable mentions, just to give you an idea of the caliber that
Okay.
we're
Yeah, go on.
dealing with. Top 10. Um, honorable mentions: Francis Hart, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Good Will Hunting, the first Back to the Future, and I've got challenges in there. I'm
Okay. So
giving
these,
it
I'm sorry. You just named five defining films of their decades. And what are in your top 10 again? Trial of the Chicago Seven. Go on. Do your.
right. So from in descending order. Yeah. Hey, I've never claimed to have taste. This is just what I like.
But you do have taste, Reed. You do. It's just on the outskirts.
Descending order. Perks of Being a Wallflower. Catch Me If You Can.
Right.
Ladybird.
Yeah.
Trial of the Chicago Seven. 1996 Romeo and Juliet. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Maybe that's gonna get bumped someday. Juno.
Yeah.
I've got the fourth Harry Potter film. It's just defining. It's just stuck.
Sure.
Marriage Story. Marriage Story. Shark
Sorry,
Tale.
just thinking about it. Oh no!
Shark Tale is incredible. You can fly, 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 fly. You can live or you can die.
Rhian,
Get in the comments. Defend me.
is this why you defended Will Smith so much during the slap?
Shut up. He's
Oh,
defending his life.
not my fish boy. All I remember is this is Plankton. This is you.
There's rocks. There's whale poo. And then there's you.
Is Shark Tale a movie that I'll enjoy?
You've not seen it.
No, I saw it when I was about 5, Rhian, and then my life.
Please, can we do it on the pod? Please.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
sure.
putting an official request.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's Scorsese's best feature.
Yeah, you've done this joke too many times now for it to be funny.
And yet you haven't watched it with an adult lens.
No, because normally in the same phrase as you say that Shark Tale is the great Scorsese movie, you say that Killers of the Flower Moon is too long and not good, morally good, which is, I don't know what makes me more
Whereas
infuriated.
Shark Tale is a very astute commentary on class and notoriety, and there are a lot of race-based humor that never punches down.
Sorry, what race-based humor is there that punches down in Killers of the Flower Moon?
No, I'm not. That was not a direct comparison, but I'm saying that it's ethically very good. A lot of great whites don't get it. So good. So good.
Great whites. Is that the joke? Really? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, so good.
Right, okay. Wonderful. Can't wait for the Killers of the Flower Moon Redux episode and the chat back to back with Sharktail. Every day that passes about Killers of the Flower Moon, I get more angry. Anyway, that's beside the point. The wonderful Francis Ha, the wonderful Sharktail, the wonderful Killers of the Flower Moon. And we'll be back next week with another Back. While We're Young, great film, and very underrated. And I think you're going to like it a lot. And the wonderful Charles Grodin is rest in peace. So it'll be a nice. Is that our first Charles Grodin film? It is. Big news. Bye.
Bye.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba.